Day 13 of the 31-day Safer Pilot Challenge. In this video, I'm going to give you 3 tips to improve your crosswind landings.
Your airspeed is alive. Your indicators are showing green. I'm going to maintain 8,000. 65 rotate. She's flying.
MzeroA Nation, thanks for flying along with me here today as I kind of narrate this flight for you a little bit. I was talking in the airplane, but just so busy out there that day, I decided, you know what, I'm just going to collect the footage and I'll give you a nice studio voiceover of everything here. 3 tips to improve your crosswind landings. The first is this: you have to know your enemy. Well, in this case, the crosswind is your enemy. You have to know what you're dealing with, right? Do I have a crosswind from my left or from my right? And what's really going to happen? For example, if I'm landing an east-west runway and I have a north wind, I need to understand what will that do to me in the traffic pattern. For example, if I have a true crosswind on the downwind, it could be pushing me towards the runway. It could be pushing me away from the runway. When I turn base, and this is where people really get themselves in trouble with the crosswind, is when they turn base. Because on base, you have one of 2 options. You either have a tailwind or you have a headwind.
Marco on traffic, Skyhawk 23 Mike Zulu's turning right base 35, touch and go, Marco.
If you have a headwind, you forget that you have a headwind and you're struggling to get the airplane down. You end up too high because you have all that extra wind flowing over. If you have a tailwind, oftentimes you'll blow through final because you're being pushed through and not even realize you're doing S-turns out there. You have to know your enemy. You have to know where your enemy is coming from and know that, hey, on the downwind, I need to crab. On base, I'm gonna have a headwind. So I'm gonna bring a little more power back than normal, but dump my flaps a little sooner than I normally would. I'm going to be ready for that because that headwind's going to want to keep me flying more. I'm not going to cover as much ground across. I will wait to turn final. And those are the things you need to think about with that. Tip number 2 is this: are you a crabber or are you a side slipper? I'm sure those don't even look like words. Maybe they're not even words. Maybe I just made them up. But there's really 2 methods to this. You can crab all the way in, or you can do the side slip or the one wing low method, as it's sometimes called. I actually teach a combination of each. What you'll see is on that long final, I crab into the wind. I'll kick the rudder into it, I'll put the nose into that wind, and I will literally crab into that wind. And I'll be flying along, kind of crabbing into that wind. Then as I get down into ground effect, I use that side slip technique. I let go of that same rudder pressure that was allowing that crab to happen. I kind of let the wind bring the nose back over, and I go and I work to touch that upwind wheel down first. It's going to take a little aileron, a little bit of rudder. You touch the upwind wheel down first, followed by the downwind wheel, and then of course, followed by the nose. Some people crab the whole way in. It works, but it's also a recipe for side loading the airplane. Some people side slip and go one wing low the entire time down. That works as well. But you're also uncoordinated for a long time at a low altitude. And I don't advocate that, obviously, with student pilots, low-hour pilots, and gosh, we're all student pilots for that matter. So that's step 2. And step 3, fly the airplane all the way to the hangar. Most people are just so thankful that they landed the airplane, I'm on the ground and life is good. Yet centerline goes away after a while, it seems like. As soon as you land, get that crosswind correction in there. And don't forget that even as you taxi to the hangar, if I'm into the wind right now, when I turn onto Bravo or onto Charlie and get off that runway, I now have a tailwind, let's say. I dive away from tailwinds. And then as I turn, back onto Alpha, whatever it is, now the wind, always thinking, even on my taxi, where is the wind coming from? And putting in the proper crosswind taxiing technique as well. This is especially true, though, on the landing rollout. On the landing rollout, as I slow down, I'm gradually adding more and more of that yoke, that aileron, into the wind as well. So what are the 3 tips for better crosswind landings? Well, first, you have to know your enemy and know how your enemy is going to affect you in the traffic pattern. Secondly, you have to decide, are you a crabber or are you a side slipper? Put it in the chat below. Are you a crabber or a side slipper? I'm a hybrid. I'm a little bit of each. Like I said, I'll crab on final up until about ground effect, maybe a little before ground effect, and then I become that side slipper and drop that one wing low, touching that upwind wheel down first. And the third tip was fly it all the way to the hanger. As you roll out, get that aileron correction in there, that crosswind correction in there, and as you taxi, no matter how many turns you make towards your hanger, towards your tie down spot, you keep updating, diving away, everything else, updating that crosswind correction there. MzeroA Nation, how on earth are you doing? Are you 13 for 13? That's pretty awesome. Let me know in the comments down below as well. We're close to halfway there. You all are doing absolutely outstanding. I hope you're loving the 31-day Safer Pilot Challenge. Have a blessed, amazing, outstanding rest of your day. And most importantly, remember that a good pilot is always learning. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you. You think the free videos we put out here on YouTube are amazing? Wait until you see inside of our online ground school. MzeroA has you covered for private, instrument, commercial, and your fundamentals of instructing, exams, written tests, check rides, and making you that safe real-world pilot. Take a 2-week free trial of it. No strings attached, no credit card needed at MzeroAtrial.com. I look forward to seeing you in there, seeing you on the member-only webinars, which we do each week, and seeing you just excelling in 2022 in your aviation journey.